Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're back here Friday nights to do another episode of Ranking the Albums. This is actually number 7 in this series, second series we've done. Basically what we do here is Ben, who's a subscriber, friend of mine, gives me 4 albums from his vast collection of CDs, and I listen to all 4, and then I talk about them and give them a ranking. So we've done 6 episodes up to this point, so we've got 6 winners, and basically how that works is whoever ranks number 1 goes into the semifinals, which will be held at the end of this series. We have one more week after this one, and then we'll be doing 2 semifinals, and then the finals. So Ben has given me 4 albums that I have to admit, there was one, of course, I was very familiar with. Another one I had some familiarity with. The other 2 I had not heard of or seen or heard before. And I wasn't quite sure how this was going to go, but I liked all 4 of these albums. I thought they were all great. So the 4 albums that he gave me were Ed Broughton Band, their self-titled album. I think it's their 3rd studio album. Pat Travers, Crash and Burn. This is an album I was familiar with from my days in high school. Phideaux, I believe it's called Phideaux. Maybe Xavier Phideaux. Does that ring a bell to anybody? And the album is number 7. And then the final one is this album, Led Zeppelin's Presence. Didn't make my 5 miniseries that I do, but it's still a really good album. So this one I knew a little bit about. The others, not as much about. So that's the order that he gave me in, and I'm going to rank them according to how I like them. So coming in at number 4 is the Ed Broughton Band self-titled album. I know it's number 4 here, but this is a really good album. Introduced me to a band that I had no previous experience with that I know of. I thought the album was quite rocking, quite heavy with some bluesy elements to it. I really liked their cover of Bring It On Home. I thought it was really excellent. The whole album though is quite good. I like his vocals. I think he's pretty strong. You got pretty rockin' kind of catchy rocky stuff. Excellent album. I highly recommend it if you like hard rock, blues, with some really strong vocals. You probably like this quite a bit. I did. Actually, after I had listened to this album, I thought it was going to win the thing because I thought, no, nothing's going to beat this. This is really good. And yet it finished 4th here. So that just goes to show you. The next album finished 3rd. Again, the same scenario happened here. After listening to this, I thought, okay, so this is going to be the best album. The Crash and Burn from Pat Travers. A couple tunes on here I was quite familiar with. Really catchy riffs, some great bass, and really smooth sounding, good production album. And I, of course, was familiar with it from the radio in my time. And there was some other stuff on here I hadn't heard before that I thought was quite good as well. I think this was a tiny bit better of an album than the Ed Broughton album, so that's why I put it in 3rd. And thinking at that point in time, okay, so it's going to win this pretty easily. I thought it would win after beating Ed Broughton. Then came the number 2 album, which was Phideaux. This band surprised me. I knew nothing about them. I had never heard them before. I knew they were more a newer band than these other 3. This one coming from, I believe, 2010. This is really good prog. This is the big difference between this and the other 3 albums. This was quite proggy. Excellent prog stuff on here. I thought the male vocalist had some range here. He was medium sounding, kind of commercial, and then he had some rough parts too, unless it's 2 different male vocalists, but I think it's the same guy. So he was quite quite forward as well. We got some excellent instrumentation on this as well. And then the female vocals I thought were really quite good too. She was quite a bit higher than him, but added a compliment to this. And I wasn't expecting her. I think she didn't come in until maybe the third or fourth song. But excellent album. And I thought the same thing. This is going to win easily. Well, not easily, but I thought it was better than the previous two albums. So, and then, of course, I had listened to this. It was in my playlist for a while, and it didn't really kick in, but The Presence is going to win today. And the reason it's going to win is because those first 4 tracks on this album, killer. That's a dynamite side to an album. Well, at least the first 4 tracks are dynamite. After that, it's a little bit on the average side, but again, it's Led Zeppelin. I think this album, more than most, maybe more than all of the Led Zeppelin albums, a really good combination of guitar riffing and drumming here. I think this may be the best combination of guitar and drum from Led Zeppelin, and in a lot of cases more than a lot of other bands. This is just a really good combo. I think both Jimmy Page and John Bonham were right on the money on this album. Very dominant, both of them. I think it really does send that kind of Led Zeppelin feeling there. Of course, it has the opening track, which I'll need my glasses to see, because Achilles' Last Stand, I believe, is the title of the song, which it is. Excellent song. This may be one of Zeppelin's best tunes. And you've got For Your Life, a really good tune as well. Royal Orleans is another great one. And then Nobody's Fault But Mine. I thought that one may be the best song on the album. The back half of the last 3, Candy Store Rock, Hot on for Nowhere, and T for One, okay tracks. But the front 4, killer. Both Bonham and Page showing off their exceptional rhythm skills. Just absolutely killer. So The Presence wins this, but not by the dominant factor I thought it might win. Basically all 4 of these albums were within a hair of each other, and the funny is that they just went from the first. I listened to them in the order were given to me, and each one just kept getting a little better. It's kind of the same as last week. I listened to the order I got them and ended up going from 4th down to 1st on the list that was given to me. So The Presence will move on, but it barely made it. I really do like this. Phideaux and the Pat Travers album was excellent too. All 3 albums were fantastic. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Ranking the Albums. This is episode number 7, so it means we have one more before we go to the semis. And Zeppelin will move in to that, into the semifinals starting in a couple weeks. So I'm interested to see how some of these albums do. Please like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. And if you got any comments, leave them in the comments section down below. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. And we will be back next week with the final episode ranking the albums, episode 8. Final one next week before we do the semifinals. So I hope to see you all then. Have yourself a good evening. Take care and goodbye.